Black Squad TV was good with you.
Black Squad TV.
Shout out to Black Squad TV, said Prince Ella, aka the Predator Princess, aka the hater with oh my God, man. Y'all are wild.
But we are finding ourselves in a situation, and shout out to Kenyatta Black. He's the one that inspired this video right here. I'm already 2 minutes in, so I'm running out of time. He inspired this video because he started over again, and he brought up the freedom of speech, which is like the #1 law of the land, the Bill of Rights. So.
Hey, what you in here doing?
Nothing. Just on my phone.
Oh, okay. Hey, I need you to come in here and help me get this kitchen clean before your mom gets home.
Dad, not right now. Not right now.
I'm sorry, what?
Not right now. Yeah, I'll do it in a minute.
Oh well, yeah. I don't need it done in a minute. I need you to get in here and help me do this like right now.
Dad, I said I'll do it in a minute. Like, what are you, deaf? Like, come on, man.
Well, nah, bro. I'm not deaf at all. I just don't speak, fluent disrespect. But it appears that you're apparently having a hard time hearing me. So let me make myself clear. You have 1 minute to get in here and do what I ask, or, you'll probably be scrubbing more than just dishes. I don't understand how you live in this. Whew, feel sorry for the woman you date, boy.
Dad, what are you talking about?
Nothing. What are you doing?
I was just thinking.
Yeah, so I need you to get in here and clean this kitchen before your mom gets home. She's on the way home with dinner.
Yeah, Dad, not right now. Not right now.
What?
I said not right now. I'll do it in a minute. Like, come on.
I need you to get in here and clean this kitchen before your mom gets home because she's on the way home with dinner.
Dad, I said I will do it in a minute. Like, what are you, deaf, man? Like, come on, man.
I think I may be because I'm not hearing. I don't think I heard you correctly. That's crazy. Yeah, I gotta get that checked out. But just do me a favor and say it again.
Say what? What are you talking about?
No, say what you just said because I'm having a hard time hearing you because either you're going to do the kitchen voluntarily or involuntarily. Choice is all yours. So try me. Don't know why I speak. Hey, get in here and clean this kitchen before your mom gets home.
Oh, yeah, Dad, not right now. Not right now.
What did you say?
I said not right now, Dad. I will do it in a minute. You deaf? Come on, man. Hey, Dad. Just want to let you know that I know Mom's on the way home with dinner, so I did clean the kitchen. I went and got that done already. Finished that. So.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm cleaning up my room right now. I'm getting all the stuff together, and I'll definitely have my room clean before dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Black Squad. I am Kenyatta Black. Thank you for tuning in. If we got any first time watchers, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now so you can get all notifications for when I drop a video, drop a short, or in the future when I begin to go live once again. Man, that silent generation, boy. That silent generation was built different. That silent generation hit different. Some of us know. I'm one of those who know about that silent generation. You know what I'm saying? My father was born in 1945. Father was born in 1945 in a small town called Glenville, Georgia. Probably about 45 minutes southeast of Macon, Georgia. Maybe an hour and a half southeast of Atlanta, Georgia. A small town called Glenville, Georgia. My father grew up dirt poor, I think with 5 brothers and sisters. You know, smack dab in the middle of the Jim Crow era. You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of people my age, they got parents that were born in the 50s and 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like my mother. You know, my mother was born in 54. You know what I'm saying? My mother's a boomer. My mother's a baby boomer. But my father was most definitely a member of the silent generation. My father did not play. When I saw that skit, earlier today, you have no idea how many memories came running back. You know, I get home from school, do what I'm supposed to do, my chores or whatever. And, you know, both my parents worked. And they both got off at 5 o'clock. And sometimes, you know, sometimes my mother would get home first, sometimes my father would get home first. And for some reason, I was always fearful of my father getting home first. You know what I'm saying? Because my father would come in the house and he would look for something to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Just like in that fucking skit. The silent generation dad, he was looking around the room, looking back in the kitchen, just looking for something to be out of place. My father was the same fucking way. Same exact way. You know, so I'd be, I'd get home from school. Like I said, sometimes my moms would get home first. Sometimes my pops would get home first. And, you know, I could tell by the sound of the engine who it was. You know what I'm saying? My father drove a truck. My mom's drove a car. So, you know, you could clearly tell the difference in the sound of the engine. Now, if it was my mom's that got home first, you know, I'd be relieved, like, oh, okay, mom's is here, I'm safe. You know what I'm saying? But if I heard that truck engine, for some reason, even though I knew at least I thought I had everything in order, I would still run around the house, you know what I'm saying, real quick, just to make sure everything was in place. Like, okay, make sure I ain't forget nothing, because I already know the drill. When he come in here, he gonna be looking, you know what I'm saying? That's that silent generation father, man. You know what I'm saying? They didn't play, and you didn't play with them. You know what I'm saying? And even in that skit, now I could tell the brother that made the skit, he either got a silent generation father, his damn self, or he's a grandfather who he's very close with to even know that. And if you paid attention to that skit, how the language changed from generation to generation. You had the Gen Z father who was saying, you know, come help me clean the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? And then you had, you know, the baby boomer and the Gen X dads who was saying, get your ass in there and clean that kitchen. You know what I'm saying? And then in walks the silent generation that he ain't gotta say a mumbling word. He ain't gotta say a mumbling word because authority has already been established a long time ago, fam. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Um, I can't speak on other people's cultures and how the parenting may have varied from generation to generation, but most definitely, where foundational Black American uh, culture is concerned, the parenting. My man in that skit, he got it down to the T. He got it down to the T. I mean, that was absolutely perfect. He perfectly encapsulated the differences in the parenting from generation to generation, going back to the silent generation. Like I said, my father was born in 1945. Like I showed at the beginning there, the silent generation are the people who were born between 1928 and 1945. My father was born in 1945, and my father was definitely every bit of a silent generation man and a silent generation father. No, no doubt about it. That generation was built different, and built different in a good way. You know, there aren't too many people, I don't believe. There aren't too many people my age or younger walking around here today who were raised by the silent generation. There really aren't. You have a few, you know what? Scratch that. That's actually not true. You have a lot of members of Gen X, actually. You have a lot of members of Gen X who were raised by their grandparents, who were members of the silent generation. So scratch that. Scratch that. That's actually not true. There are a lot of black Gen Xers who were raised by their grandparents. You know what I'm saying? My father had me late. I was his last child. You know what I'm saying? So, because like my half brothers, who I never bring up, never talk about, because I really don't claim them. They are all Gen Xers. You know what I'm saying? I'm an old millennial. You know what I'm saying? I'm an old millennial, which pretty much makes me a Gen Xer, culturally speaking. You know, young Gen Xers and old millennials are pretty much one and the same. You know, we were raised in the same households by the same parents during the same era. Same household, same parents, same era. Same culture. We were pretty much shaped and molded the same. So a lot of old millennials and young Gen Xers are one and the same. Same way you really don't want to fuck with a Gen Xer, you really don't want to fuck with an old millennial either. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I think I pointed it out to this dude at my job like a couple weeks ago. Pretty sure he's a Gen Zer, right? And he's one of the managers. And where he'll tell people to shut up, I would probably tell people to shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's just a generational thing where, like you seen in that skit, it is very true. The language changes. The language changes. It seems like, the further you go down the list, from the silent generation to the boomers, to the Gen Xers, to the millennials, to the Gen Zers, so on and so forth, even down, especially down to the Gen Alphas. the language changes. And the language changes because it seems like the further you go down that list, the more men talk. You feel me? Again, look at that skit. My man nailed it. Shout out to my man. I'm not sure what his name is, but he nailed it in that skit. Absolutely nailed it. You see the silent generation father, he didn't have to do no goddamn talking. None. Zero. The baby boomer and the Gen X fathers, they do a little bit of talking, not much. The millennial fathers, they talk too much. The Gen Z fathers, they talk the way you would expect a mother to try to reason with their children. That's not how fathers are supposed to roll, fam. You know what I'm saying? When daddy walk in the door, ain't supposed to be too much talking. You know, fathers are supposed to be the disciplinarians. You know. And it was crazy though too, is even the women of that generation were built different. You know, where, you know, my father was a member of the silent generation. On my mother's side, my grandmother was also a member of the silent generation. Let me tell you a little something about my grandmother. My grandmother, now we're talking about a woman who stood at maybe 5'3", 5'4", probably 135, 40 pounds soaking wet. Right? Gave birth to 7 children, my mother being the oldest. Even as an old lady, I'm talking about even as an old lady, my grandmother had what I have come to just refer to as Montgomery hands. Lillian Montgomery, that was my grandmother. Lillian Montgomery. And the thing about Lillian Montgomery is, as a grandchild, if you step out of line to the point where Lillian Montgomery feels like she needs to step in and discipline her grandbaby, you're about to have an experience. And let me tell you a little story. Thank God it didn't happen to me. Let me tell you a little story. I was about 16, 17 at the time, which means my cousin, I ain't gonna say his name even though I can't stand the motherfucker. My cousin, he must have been about 15 at the time. 14, maybe 15. He's just a couple years younger than me. So he was probably about 14 or 15 at the time. I forget what the hell he did. I forget what he did. What? I forget what he did, but that ain't the point. The point is, my grandmother, Lillian Montgomery, decided, you know what, let me handle this. Which means he really pissed her off. Lillian Montgomery, she was a sweet lady, man. If she decides she's going to step in and handle you, you did something. All right? Now remember, this is an old lady. My cousin was a 15-year-old boy at the time. Right? Long story short, my grandmother grabbed my cousin by the wrist, pulled out that belt, started going to work. All I remember is my cousin yanking and yanking, trying to get away, yanking just with all his might trying to get away. Couldn't go nowhere. couldn't go nowhere. Now remember, this is an old lady. And this is a 15-year-old young man. Now, pause, because I don't think some of the ladies really understand, you know, the strength that a 15-year-old boy has. The strength and the energy that a 15-year-old boy has. That 15-year-old boy is really not too far removed from embarking on his physical prime. Okay? And at 15, he's basically got the fucking energy of a goddamn toddler. And here's this old lady with hands of steel. And that 15-year-old boy couldn't get away to save his life. He was trying with everything he had. My grandmother was tearing his ass up. And that was the day I learned where the fuck I got my hands from. Because I got hands like that. I got hands like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't know the strength of my own hands. Every time you turn around, I'm fucking breaking something. You know what I'm saying? I'm just holding something, and next thing you know, it's broke. You know, that's why I have to be, you know, as a father, I'm extremely cautious when I'm playing with my daughter, or even just putting. Say for example, when I'm putting lotion on her. You know, when I'm putting lotion on her legs or I'm putting lotion on her arms, I'm extremely fucking careful because I literally do not know the strength of my own fucking hands. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That was the day that I learned where the fuck I got my hands from. It's like, oh shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, of course, I was laughing my ass off because that's what we do when we're kids. You know, that's what we do when we're kids. You know, somebody else getting their ass whooped, we be giggling like a motherfucker. Right? But I tell that story to say that even the women of the silent generation were built different. Even the women. They were built different. The silent generation was nothing like the boomers. Nothing like the boomers. And that's fucking sad. Or, well, you could put it that way, or should I say, the boomers were nothing, or are nothing like their parents. Nothing like their parents. And that's a damn shame, because the overwhelming majority of Gen Xers and millennials were raised by boomers. If the overwhelming majority of Gen Xers and millennials were raised by the silent generation, we would be looking at an entirely different community. An entirely different community. It's the fucking black boomers who dropped the fucking ball. You know what I'm saying? It's just obvious. It's clear as day. We're talking about literally the worst generation of black people produced on American soil since slavery. Let's just keep it 100. Let's just keep it 100. The black baby boomers are the only generation of black people who did not give their children a better version of the black community than what was handed to them. The greatest generation handed the silent generation a better version of the black community than what was handed to them. The same way the lost, so-called lost generation handed them. And when it came time for the baby boomers to do the same, they failed. Simply put, the mission of every generation is to hand the next generation a better version of America, a better version of society than what was handed to them. That is, the mission of every generation, simply put. Hand your children a better world than the world that was handed to you. The baby boomers failed. And in a lot of ways, you can make the argument that they didn't even try. I mean, we're talking about the only generation who has ever not only mooched off their parents, but even mooch off of their children. And that's widespread. That is a widespread thing with black baby boomers. A lot of them are still living in their parents' houses. Never left the house, you know what I'm saying? Never left or inherited, the homes of the silent generation. A lot of black people of the silent generation had a lot of land, a lot of houses, and they passed those things down to their children. The black baby boomers, right? And a lot of these boomers, they have either squandered it all, sold the land, sold the houses, pocketed the money, and then squandered the money. So there's nothing to be passed down to the Gen Xers and the Millennials and the Gen Zers and so on. Nothing to be passed down. It all got squandered with the black boomers. It's like I've said before, and I'll say it again. If you want to know not only how the black community went to shit, but if you want to know how America went to shit and went to shit in such a short and quick time, look no further than the baby boomers. The baby boomers are the ones who, again, not only messed up the black community, but they're the ones who ran America into the ground. The trifling behavior of baby boomers is not just limited to the black community. No, that's all these fucking baby boomers. That's all these goddamn baby. All the baby boomers ain't worth a damn. And I know what somebody's saying. I know what somebody said. But hold up, Kenyatta. Didn't you just say a minute ago that your mama was a boomer? Yeah, my mama is a boomer. And my mama ain't perfect. But my mama ain't like that. My mama ain't one of those. You know what I'm saying? My mama ain't one of them selfish, self-absorbed, self-centered individuals like the majority of the boomers. Of course, not every single person who is a boomer is a self-centered, self-absorbed, selfish piece of shit. But the majority of them are. The majority of them are. They are nothing like the silent generation. Nothing whatsoever. But that silent generation will live on. That silent generation will live on because, like I said a minute ago, so many Gen Xers and even some millennials were raised, like so many Gen Xers were raised by their silent generation grandparents. And then you have a few outliers like myself who were raised by silent generation parents. You know, like I said, my father, I was the last of my father's children. You know, my father being born in 1945, and, you know, me being the last of all his children. I had the pleasure and fortunate circumstances and I can laugh about it today as a grown man, but I wasn't laughing when I was a kid, man. I was not laughing then, you know, but thank God I was raised by a silent generation man. Thank God. So much of him is in me. It's ridiculous, you know. And as a kid and even as a young man, you know, probably like a lot of young men, I tried to deny, you know, being anything like my father. You know, there was a time where I didn't want to be anything like him. The older I get, the more I see I am him. I am him. You know, my temperament, my temper, the way I view the world, the way I take things so seriously, the way I take myself so seriously. And that was the silent generation. They were a generation of people who took themselves seriously, who took the world seriously, carried themselves with dignity and respect at all times, no matter what environment they were in. And they tried to pass those things on to their children. But the baby boomers were a special kind of stupid. But I don't want to harp too much on the baby boomers. That's another conversation. But yeah, the silent generation, they will live on. They will live on as they deserve to live on. They will live on in the people who they pass down certain life lessons, certain disciplines. You know. Again, I am absolutely grateful that I had the fortunate circumstances of being raised by a silent generation man. And as I embark on this journey of fatherhood, I intend to pass down to my daughter all of those life lessons, all of those disciplines that were taught to me. So if there's any members of the silent generation who happen to be listening to this, thank you. Thank you. It is very possible that you should have been called the greatest generation. It's very possible. You know, your parents were referred to as the greatest generation, but maybe it's you who should have been referred to as the greatest generation as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about anybody else, but as far as I'm concerned, maybe you should have been called the greatest generation. Because you definitely are, between the silent generation, the baby boomers, Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Out of all of those generations, you certainly are the greatest one. And those of us who had the fortunate circumstances of knowing you and being raised by you, we thank you. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you. But I am Kenyatta Black. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and support the platform and hit the Cash App right there in your lower left-hand corner. $ Black Squad. I'm out, man. Until next time, and it will be a next time, remember, bands will make them dance, but these hands will change your face. And that right there, truth be told, is a little bit of that silent generation upbringing coming out of me. Because when I say bands will make them dance, but these hands will change your face, bro, that's not just a catchy little phrase, you know. No, that's really me. I will change your fucking face. Until next time, y'all, I'm out. Deuces.